You do it when you think no one is watching. A quiet word under your breath while folding laundry, a whispered thought while staring at your reflection, a soft conversation with yourself in the car, in the shower, in the space between sleep and waking. You catch yourself mid-sentence and pause. You glance around as if someone might have heard, and for a moment you feel exposed, as though you've been caught doing something you shouldn't. But here's what you need to understand. That voice you speak to isn't random. It isn't strange. And it certainly isn't a sign that something is broken inside you. It's the part of you that has been there since the beginning. The part that stayed when everyone else left. Think back to when you were small. Do you remember playing alone? Not just playing, but narrating every action, every imagined scene. You gave voices to your toys. You whispered instructions to yourself. You created entire worlds out of nothing but sound and imagination. That wasn't childish nonsense. That was your mind learning how to hold itself together. Psychologists call it self-directed speech. Children do it naturally because their inner world is still forming. They externalize their thoughts to make sense of feelings they don't yet have words for. The voice outside trains the voice inside. But something happens as you grow older. You learn that speaking to yourself is something to hide. Society teaches you that silence is maturity, that composure means keeping everything internal, that talking to yourself means you're lonely, unstable, or worse. So you stop, or rather you learn to do it quietly, behind closed doors, in moments when no one else can hear. But the voice never disappeared. It just went underground, waiting for the moments when your guard dropped and you needed it most. Why you still need to hear yourself. Have you ever noticed that your problems feel heavier when they stay inside your head? A tangled knot of worry, fear, and doubt that circles endlessly. But the moment you speak it out loud, even to an empty room, something shifts. This isn't coincidence, it's neuroscience. When you speak, your brain engages differently. Your left hemisphere, the logical side, connects with your right hemisphere, the emotional side. The act of voicing a thought forces your mind to organize it, to slow it down, to give it shape. Studies show that self-talk reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. It helps your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, regain control from your amygdala, the part that reacts out of fear. This is why you whisper, "It's okay," when you're overwhelmed. Why you rehearse conversations before difficult moments. Why you talk yourself through decisions that feel impossible. Your voice is a tool, and speaking to yourself is one of the oldest ways the human mind creates order from chaos. But there's something deeper happening beneath the psychology, something more intimate. The voice you speak to doesn't just organize your thoughts, it carries your history. It remembers things you've tried to forget, the disappointments you dismissed, the grief you never fully felt, the words you wanted to say but swallowed instead. It knows the moments when you needed someone to see you, and no one did. The times you cried quietly so no one would hear. The nights you reassured yourself because there was no one else to do it. That voice became your witness, your companion, the one presence that never abandoned you. And yes, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it replays your mistakes. Sometimes it echoes the criticism you learned from people who made you feel small. Sometimes it becomes the shadow of every wound you've carried silently. But even then, even when the voice is harsh, it's trying to tell you something. It's asking to be heard. It's reaching for the healing you've been too afraid to seek. What the world gets wrong. Society doesn't understand this. It sees someone talking to themselves and makes assumptions. Loneliness, instability, weakness. But history tells a different story. Philosophers walked alone, speaking their questions into the night. Poets whispered lines under their breath until meaning emerged. Scientists, artists, monks, some of the greatest minds in human history understood that the deepest clarity comes from conversation with the self. The inward voice has always been sacred. It's only modern culture that turned it into something shameful. We live in a world that worships noise, constant engagement, endless performance. A world that tells you if you're not speaking to others, posting yourself, proving yourself, then you don't exist. It tells you to replace introspection with distraction, emotion with entertainment, presence with performance. And in doing so, it disconnects you from the only relationship that lasts your entire life, the relationship with yourself. So you hide the voice. You speak only when no one is around. You pretend you don't need to hear yourself. But there's a cost to that silence, a slow erosion of the part of you that remembers who you truly are. Healing begins when you stop treating the voice as a problem and start treating it as a message. The next time you hear yourself whisper something in the quiet, pause. Listen, not with judgment, not with shame, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, who is speaking right now? The child who once felt alone? The adult who's tired of carrying everything? The heart that wants to be held, but has never been shown how? The voice is not random, it's memory shaped into language. When fear rises and the voice trembles, speak softly, I hear you. When doubt sharpens into criticism, respond with steadiness, I am trying. When loneliness echoes through your thoughts, remind yourself, I am here with you. This is not delusion, this is self-compassion. The emotional oxygen mask every human needs, but few are taught how to use. You can write it down. Journaling gives the voice shape. It transforms chaos into a landscape you can navigate. You stop drowning in the feeling and start understanding where it comes from. The voice becomes less of a battleground and more of a dialogue. You stop running from yourself. You stop fearing your own inner world. The voice inside you is older than your memories. It has lived through every silence you endured, every moment you swallowed your feelings to keep the peace, every time you stayed when you needed to leave or left when you wanted to stay. It witnessed the quiet heartbreaks, the ones that left no visible bruise but changed you forever. And through all of it, it stayed. When you speak to yourself today, you are not merely thinking, you are tending to the child you once were, the teenager who felt too much, the adult who learned to carry themselves through storms. You are acknowledging the parts of you that survived without applause, without witness, without reassurance. So the next time you find yourself whispering in an empty room, do not silence it. Do not call yourself strange. Do not feel ashamed. Listen, you are hearing the truth of your own existence. You are not talking to yourself. You are returning to yourself. And there is nothing more human than that. If you find this helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next one.